here.
Well, they could do that, but I think the way that it's arranged is going to be a bit difficult. So I think they're just going to have to shout anyway. But whatever the case, we're going to go to some audience questions, which Verdisha will no doubt answer. So if you have a question, stick your hand up, and we'll just point in your general direction, and then we'll get started. Anyone with any questions for Paragon?
People are shy. See, this is the thing with Finnish people.
Finnish people are shy? That actually surprises me.
Well, I mean, look at it. No hands whatsoever.
Either that or we've just been really, really thorough.
Well, that could be as well. How many hours do I play, or how many hours do people in Paragon play? On a progress, or just...
Yeah, over the course of 3 months.
Well, let's say 1 month of it is progress. On a progress we play, I don't know, 12, 16 hours even. I mean, we do what's required. So if that's required, then we do it.
Yeah.
And then, well, when it's no progress, as I just said earlier, people barely log into the game. So yeah, that's I don't know. It's difficult to say over a 3-month course, but people generally don't play a lot of WoW when we have farm content. We do this one raid, and then people don't really do much inside WoW. I personally do some things, but yeah, not everyone does the same things. Some people do like pets. Some people do like achievements. Those people play a bit more for their own fun. There's a question right there. Don't exactly know how to answer that so well. Let's just put it this way, that if you're not from a top 50 guild, your chance of getting into a Paragon is very slim. Obviously, you need to be able to speak fluent Finnish, understand Finnish, and all of this. So, you know, if you have something to prove that, you know, you're the guy, then there's a chance that you're gonna be recruited, no problem. And then I don't know if I misunderstood your question. Did you mean that how many people of those who actually get a trial actually pass their trial in Paragon? Yeah. Right. Well, the thing is, we don't. The people that we actually recruit, they are obviously already quite well looked at. So it's quite high chance that the person who we recruit actually passes the trial as well. We don't exactly have the mentality of recruiting 10 people and then
making them fight to the death.
You know, just for the sake and just yeah.
I think you should do that at one point, just for laughs, mostly. What we'll also do for those of you on the stream, by the way, we will actually take questions via Twitter. So since our chat is trying to take it via the chat, and we can't, because the chat is a bit bugged on Justin TV at the moment. So you can take it via Twitter. You can send it to @TotalBiscuit. That is @TotalBiscuit, and we'll do some more questions in the meantime. Do we have any more audience questions while we're waiting for those? Several. That's a fair point. Why do we both play mages when we could play warlocks?
Actually, the thing is, I don't play a mage. I play a warrior. And
oh yeah, last time was it your arcane mage or was it someone else's?
Yeah, no, it was mine. It's my alt, but
right, yeah.
Because of how the sort of whole shoutcast was happening, it was easier for me to...
You picked the easiest class,
yeah, I mean,
so that you didn't have to focus.
Number 2 was quite easy to press whilst I was talking at the same time.
You were pressing that number 2, man. You really were. I've never seen anything like it.
DPS warrior is actually quite a few more buttons and, you know...
Yeah, and the problem is when you're wearing a headset, rolling your face on the keyboard's actually really awkward. It makes a lot of problems with the microphone.
But this actually answers the question. I don't really play a mage. Mage used to be really quite good, and that's why I picked it up as an alt to play. If one day mage becomes incredibly good or something, then I might switch it, onto it. I'm not sort of guy who
you have no class loyalty.
No,
that's your problem. Yeah.
I play the character that tops the damage. I don't care about if one day warrior is not going to be good damage, I'm not going to be playing warrior no more, because warrior doesn't bring much else. It's same with mages though. They really all they have is damage, and once they don't compute with that anymore, well, we can just take some other classes then.
Yep. We used to be really good at giving out food. Not so much at that anymore. Water dispensers, we were awesome at that, but
yeah, you You had the mind-quickening gem from the Blackwing Lair just for that purpose.
Yeah, that was the reason why mind-quickening gem existed, yes. Make water 25% faster.
Exactly.
Well, it's no coincidence that I think Tier 2 shoulders looked a little bit like water coolers. I'm fairly sure someone photoshopped that in. That's why I play Mage, because I'm too lazy to roll another class and learn it. I think when you played one class for 6 years and you're not Bleeding Edge, I used to do Bleeding Edge raiding 5 to 6 years ago. I definitely don't have the time to do that anymore. So if I were to say go back to where I've been on sub for a few months now, I would certainly not be comfortable learning another class. You get so attached to one character that even if you get kind of sick of it, like for instance in the period where it was all arcane mages, and that was really around the period of tier 5 shoulders being ridiculous, so everyone and their mother was an arcane mage because of those shoulders. It was incredibly boring to play, and it still is, for reasons that you've mentioned, that you just don't have to press any other buttons. But you still don't want to break away from that character, even if it's not pleasant to play.
Yep.
That's my attitude, anyway.
For me, there's nothing like this. I don't really care what class I play, as long as I am actually useful and can enjoy, like, let's say, I don't want to be the average contributor in the raid.
Well, I don't think anyone in Paragon would. I mean, you're talking about the #1 guild in the world that will actually go to extreme lengths in order to be competitive. Is anyone really happy to be mediocre in a guild like that?
No, that's not exactly what I mean, though. I mean that I don't want to be the guy bringing the buffs in. Like, I will rather be the pure DPS.
Saying you want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Exactly.
I see.
I don't want to play a Shadow Priest if it doesn't top damage. I mean, what's the point? It's not even a mana battery anymore.
Not anymore. No, not anymore. Do you have any more questions for the audience? If we don't, we'll be going to Twitter. Yep. Yeah. Can you remember the exact number or even close to it?
No, but it was 500-ish.
And bearing in mind, a lot of those were like organized wipes. I think something will have gone wrong and you've just said wipe.
Well, let's just put it this way: a lot of them happen in the first phase by something what we saw earlier. Some insane moves by Gare straight into a trap and stuff like that. So
yeah, and that's something you've managed to drill out with sheer brute force practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff you get out with practice.
That's fair enough. Any more questions from the audience? Okay, we'll go into questions on Twitter, of which I have about 50, so that's a good start. That's an interesting one. When do you think that... That's a really weird question. We can go into it just because it's a weird question.
Yeah.
When do you think that casual guilds will be able to kill Ragnaros?
Normal mode or heroic?
That's a great question. You didn't say so.
I'm pretty sure...
Casual guilds shouldn't be killing heroic anyway, should they?
No, and that's the thing, that most casual guilds already are killing normal mode, and they shouldn't be killing heroic mode because it's meant to be difficult.
Yeah, we can actually look at how many guilds have managed to kill that. We can check WoW progress and see how many kills on the normal mode there has been. Ragnaros has been actually killed by 23% of active raiding guilds currently recorded on this site.
Yeah, which actually
that's
is quite a lot.
Compared to the first tier of content.
Yep.
This has only been out, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, so the casuals have managed to kill the normal mode, but to be honest, I'm pretty sure that they will not be able to kill the heroic mode.
Well, do you want to know how many? Well, you can see right here. This is how many guilds have killed the normal mode, or the heroic mode thus far. 12. Yeah, that's a fairly large difference between that and Mage Doma, which is 442.
Yeah.
And yeah, Lord Ryaloth looks like he's being the loot. Actually, no, it's Shanox that's being the loot pinata for heroic mode. He's the Harvest Wormbreak with this one.
Yeah.
4,186 guilds have killed that one.
Yep.
But there you go. Yeah, as you said, and I would agree, they shouldn't be killing it at all. It'll be interesting to see if the heroic mode stuff, now that all of this, this is the first expansion where everything's had a heroic mode. Yep. Will people bother to go back to heroic Nefarian when they're at, what, tier 13, 14? Will they bother doing that? Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
Yeah.
I think that some people will be really interested in seeing it, and some people won't give a damn.
That's just how it always is. Different opinions, and people are just simply different.
Yep. This is a good question on the psychology of it. Do you guys ever spend a night of wiping and just not want to play ever again?
I don't know. There has been bad nights, and there has been good nights. So, I don't know. When we were doing Balrog for the first time, it felt like we were just so close to the kill, but we just didn't have what it took. It was so late, like 4 o'clock or something already. We had been raiding for hours, and then next morning we went there and just dead, just like that, pretty much.
Flat. That happens
Couple
so
of pulls.
often as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely it does.
Something just clicks, you get up and you go there and you kill it on the first try after a night of wiping. It's amazing what a good night's sleep can do for you.
Yeah.
Well, we are getting through to phase 4 once again.
Some of the combat assists have actually been used now. I have seen 2 people die already.
It's unfortunate. But at least they're on the feet.
It's really bad, in fact, because it would be nice to have all the combat assists for the phase where it actually matters.
Yeah.
Because stuff like unexpected stuff can actually happen there. Even if you have bad RNG, these can actually make up for it. That's a tank hit by Lava Wave right there. Thankfully, has about twice more HP than a normal person and was dispelled.
Yep. Otherwise, that would be fairly unpleasant.
It's 12%. Meteor is coming in 15 seconds.
No real problem with the DPS, at least.
It's just... What? 3 people just died to engulfing flames.
Dock them DKP immediately.
They are gonna... Yeah. And Lappe the Moonkin is saying mages ... Because quite a few there was quite a few mage deaths.
Yep.
This far it seems.
Well, I think when you were talking to me about the length of this raid, you did estimate about 5 hours because 4 hours of that would be wiping on Rag. So
see, they actually did get with 2 meters to the last phase, though. Now we'll see if these guys are the fillers or if without them this is impossible.
Well, it's going to be pretty tricky one way or the other. Keep an eye on things and see how that goes.
I would say it's doable still. So what just happened there? Never mind. Ragnarok just came up. Looked like a meteor impact.
That's more of a case of you're looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, Ragnaros has legs. It's like, oh, this is not usual at all.
Right, people
I'm
are
never
taking
getting used to that.
People are taking their positions. This is a quite bad Breath of Frost because it's so far away from, like, now if next breath spawns, for example, at a door, it's going to be really, really not nice to go there.
No, it will not.
It's going to be long run and also going to be not pleasant to take Ragnaros to a trap if it's going to be far away, because if Melee wants to DPS it once it's in the trap, then Melee needs to... Yeah, you see the trap right there. Actually, this is not too bad from this spot. It will be possible to be nuked down by ranged, and Melee will just take a few steps and keep nuking it in the roots, taking 50% extra damage. People should be burning their cooldowns on these kind of points and putting up dots and stuff. Now people need to be careful with meteors. It's actually good RNG. Breath of Frost right next to each other. There's a meteor being taken right to the first one. Now it's meteor. Need to nuke it down. Looks very good. We have a tank death again for a meteor impact.
Not ideal. That's what, 4 people down this far. 5.
I don't know if we have combat resistance ready anymore.
There's a possibility that you do not.
If we don't, I would say that it's going to be difficult. There's dredge flames spawning right next to the camp. It needs to be taken off immediately. There's the left foot side. Proof is taking it safe. It's now back into the frost. Ooh, the frost right next to it as well. Really good luck with the frost.
Well, let's see. It's hoping that's enough to do it.
Oh, 2 people
dear.
just died from a meteor impact.
Splat.
One of them was a healer. Yeah,
and there it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, Empire
it all falls apart in about 3 seconds' time. Oh, we've got plenty more time for questions then.
Yep.
There's another 55. In addition to what we already have, so...
Not
plenty
bad.
of people.
Not bad.
And remember, if anyone does come up with any in the audience, just wave your hands around like a crazy person and we will get to you. In the meantime, can have a look and see what's come in via Twitter. A Shaman question. What purpose and utility does Shaman play in your raid? Are they something you find necessary, or do you believe they are underpowered, and why?
I don't believe we need Shamans for anything, as it's been proven. I would say they are underpowered, yes. What purpose and utility do Shaman play in your raid? None. Don't have any Shamans. And there's nothing necessary.
Yeah.
So it's just really straightforward, underpowered, actually.
Is it underpowered in just the simple numbers, or is there something mechanically wrong with them?
I don't know. Maybe they need a better cooldown than Spirit Link Totem, like raid-wide cooldown type stuff, not something that is going to buff them even more in PvP. The problem with Shamans is that they are extremely good in PvP and really weak in PvE, so if you buff them in PvP, you're going to buff them in PvE, and vice versa, so that's the big problem. And they're already one of the best healers in PvP, so they just really can't do it. They would have to find a way to sort of... They should do something that they did with Warriors. They did nerf Colossus Smash for PvP only.
Yeah, they keep saying they don't want to do that.
Yeah, they don't want to do that, but that's the best way to actually separate the PvP and PvE abilities totally from each other.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to, because I think they've got an absolutely impossible balancing act ahead of them if they want to try and do that. They want to try and maintain PvP and PvE as separate entities and yet not give you different abilities for each and not change the way that abilities work. And they've had to make some changes, but they should just go full on accept it as far as I'm concerned. I'm very curious, actually, how many people in the audience both regularly raid and PvP in arenas or battlegrounds? It's a very small number. It's about 6 out of over 100 here.
Yep.
So, and to be honest, I wonder how many of those guys would really mind if the abilities were changed. Would any of them? One? Yep, just the one. But still, it's really hard, isn't it? Because you're going to annoy some people, but then
there
there
are
are
people with
people...
everything, though. I mean,
yeah.
People are never happy.
No. But I think that it's a justified annoyance, one way or the other.
Definitely.
And therein lies the problem from integrating PvP into your game. The funny thing about it is that WoW was never supposed to have that. In the beta, it did not. It was not planned. It was put in because people asked for it.
Yeah, exactly. It worked quite well for some time, but then obviously, same thing happened as with, well,
pretty much anything, really. I suppose. Yeah, is that things tend to go wrong over time. When you add complexity to your game and you keep evolving it, then there are going to be things that you don't compensate for properly, and then things are going to go wrong. Okay, we're going to have a look at a few more questions. Just trying to pick out the good ones from the bat. Interesting comparative question right here. How hard is Heroic Ragnaros compared to Yogg plus 0 or Heroic Lich King?
Well, as said earlier, I would say that Heroic Lich King is the only one which even can be compared. Everything else was just not... I mean, yeah, I can't really compare the others. It was only really Lich King, so Yogg doesn't even compare, I would say.
Fair enough.
And I would say it's a bit harder than, you know, I said it would be the hardest one.
Yep. That is fair enough. I don't think you're going to be able to answer that one. Maybe you can personally. How much gold was lost to repairs alone and progress on Rag?
Let's just put it this way. I'm going to say some numbers. We had 700,000 in the guild bank when we started progressing on heroic modes, and when we finished, I think we had less than 200k left.
So you spent over 500,000 gold in repair bills?
Not only in repair bills, but also in buying...
flasks and things like that.
Yeah, and like buying also some BOE items from the auction house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So 500,000 gold, that's
crazy.
That's quite a lot.
It is quite a lot. No kidding about that. Think about how much you could have sold that for in Diablo 3. You could have been rich, you could have retired.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go and have a look at some of that. A lot of people question about shamans. We've already explained that, so we don't really need to do that.
Yeah.
Personally, what is your favourite boss encounter? What's the one you enjoy the most?
Well, the DPS person that I am, I would say it's these patchwork Balrog style encounters where you can just really go for the competition, and that's, you know, that matters the most.
Yeah, a DPS race fight, DPS meters.
Yeah.
Lots of bonuses.
That's exactly it.
As a pure DPS class, I can hardly blame you for that. That's interesting, considering what we said earlier. What's the chance of you moving over to Eve if WoW ever dies?
Of Paragon or of me?
Paragon, I think, in general.
I think it's no chance whatsoever.
Yeah, it does seem really weird for Paragon, but to follow that one up with a more logical question, if WoW dies, if WoW maybe goes in the way that they just don't really focus on competitive raiding or anything anymore, would Paragon simply disband, or are they the kind of guild to stick together and simply move to a different game and then just try to become #1 there?
I don't know. Paragon has been playing some different games over the past and been doing quite well, so it is a possibility. I mean, to be honest, like Dota and all this kind of stuff is kind of bringing up some serious prices, which do, I mean,
they're attractive, aren't they?
They're very attractive.
Well, when Valve puts forward $1 million, in fact, for a tournament, and that's for the winning team alone, and there are more prizes, then you start to get interested in it. And I think what people need to understand is that Paragon is effectively, as close as you can get to it, a professional raiding guild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. That's exactly how it is.
Yeah. So if you have a game that perhaps supports that scene in a bit of a bigger way, I mean, you guys are able to do it because through sponsorship and things like that, simply due to your presence, aren't you?
Yeah.
And success, of course, and that's why people sponsor you, because
of course, everything comes
a lot of people care about what you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would kind of make sense, I suppose, to move to a different game that actually provides more, but for the time being, dominating this one. In Paragon, is there a large amount of inter-guildy competition, and does this lead to any sort of animosity?
What does that exactly mean?
Well, animosity? Or inter-guild... Animosity as in... Well, let's just say drama.
Right, well... let's just put it this way. During progress, there is not really that much of this, because loot is sort of distributed to the people who benefit the most out of it, no matter if it's an alt or if it's your main or whatever
loot
it is.
is a huge cause of drama in a lot of guilds.
And then also, after the progress is being done, most people don't care that much about loot whatsoever. So, I don't know.
Doesn't sound like there's a huge amount of it then. People, of course, want the juicy, gory details, but I don't think you can have a really successful raiding guild and have a ton of drama in the process.
No. It just doesn't really, yeah.
How long did it take Paragon to gain guild perks, and what do you think about them as a system in the game?
They're nice. Perks are always nice. But I don't know how long did it take us to get them. We didn't exactly. We weren't nowhere near the first guild in the world. We didn't compete for any of this. None of it really enhances your gameplay, so it didn't really, it didn't really matter that much.
Yeah, it's not like any of it actually has damage and things like that. It's more, it's convenience, isn't it? And you see
and
mass
also stuff like get more herbs from herbing.
Yeah.
Well, not many people even herb in Paragon, so not really a big thing for us.
That's an interesting one, because I'm going to expand on that, because that's otherwise a boring question. So, what about the issue with stars and the faction change and raid ID thing? Would Paragon have actually done that? Is that the kind of thing that you guys would have done, and what do you think about the issue in general?
Let's just put it this way. If other guilds would have done, if more of the guilds would have done it, we would have had to do it to be competitive.
Yeah.
So, Star sort of took a head start on this and sort of made so that it does not happen for the others.
Yeah, because Blizzard nailed it down immediately.
Yeah.
Those who don't know, by the way, what the Taiwanese guild, very competitive guild, did by the name of Stars, they actually used the faction change system to faction change their entire raid group to reset the raid cooldown so that they could start heroic mode before the reset.
Yeah.
So, a bit of a pricey thing, but needless to say, Blizzard shut that down. I mean, I don't think they got banned for that, did they?
No, I think the instance just got somehow shut down. They got kicked out of the instance.
Yeah, they locked heroic. They hard locked heroic mode, so you couldn't get it under any circumstance, and then released it the following week to make sure that didn't happen. But yeah, as you were saying, you would do it if you had to in order to be competitive, because other guilds were already doing it.
Yes.
That's fair enough. Sounds reasonable. It's a really dodgy debate every time something like this comes up, because you know it's supported within the game. That's what the game functions that way. That's how the system functions.
It's sort of the thing though that buying items for real life money, they sort of support the same idea.
Yeah.
Because if you faction change, you can get things faster, you get legendary faster, you get gear faster, you know, even though you have to still work for it.
So you're effectively paying for power.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying for more gear. That's exactly what it is. That's the only thing what it is for these top guilds.
Yeah.
They're not paying so they could transfer and raid Firelands again, because it's so much fun. I mean, that's not really what it is at all.
And do it to reset your Zul'Gurub cooldown, so you can go in there twice a day.
Yep. Looks like Ragnar is actually getting to the very interesting state again, where we're looking to be going to the last phase with everyone alive, hopefully with 2 meteors.
And combat res is available, I believe, this time around. I think so.
Looks like no one has died.
Yeah. Wouldn't appear so. It's always a good thing. See if we can bring it down this time. But once again, this RNG element can be unpleasant.
It actually can, and well, some people say that with a better play you can, you know, negate the RNG, but I mean, really, guys, some of it actually really is RNG. Then again, stuff like engulfing magics, just stop sucking and don't die.
Pretty much, yeah. I think there's this tendency to blame RNG for pretty much everything, and it's not always the case. But in this case, as you've seen, the spawn's going all over the place.
Yeah, because it's random.
Really is.
It's totally random. You can't. Yeah. It's not spawning on a player, so you can't have someone standing on a, you know, look at a spot to spawn it there. That was a meteor impact explosion for two people.
Ouch.
Just as the boss went down.
Well, do they have a chance to combat res?
Both combat res already.
Well, so no more mistakes can be afforded at this point.
I think one combat res is still standing. Hopefully, hopefully we will see it in a very good use. I'm pretty sure if a DPS will die now, he won't be combat rest. They're going to be saving a DPS. I mean,
combat rest.
Combat rest for a tank or for a healer.
This is where I think it's starting to get a little bit tense. The meteor control this time around.
Breath of Frost is spawning sort of where everyone was already standing.
That's good.
There is also this one important thing to remember here. If you have more than 10 people standing close to each other, it's going to spawn a magma glacier, which is going to do 50,000 damage and also destroy the Breath of Frost. That's why we're doing this camping thing and not just everyone standing in the middle of it. So people need to be very careful when they're moving out. They can't just move through the melee company. They need to go from their own spot whenever they're going anywhere.
Tricky encounter, still a lot of mechanics.
Yeah.
I think everyone now understands why it took you 500 or so wipes to actually do this.
Yeah, and I mean, when you understand the fact that we only got into this phase like a couple of times a day, looks like they're going to be taking a meteor now in the old frost spawn. No, someone is doing something with a meteor. I can hear some swearing going around. Someone just exploded on it. What is going on?
That is unusual. It's only one. Is that what? 2 people down from that?
One died from Dread Flame. One died from meteor impact.
Yeah. One
of them was a Deluge person sweeping the area. So this is going to be complicated now.
Yeah, Hunter has it on him.
Yeah, this is the kite. This is how you do it. Bit of deterrence here to not take any damage from Dread Flame. Now back to your spot. Need to be careful how to go, from where to go. That's very bad. That is very bad. If the meteor, no, it didn't. If the meteor would have gone straight into the new one, people would have kind of been in a bad position. They're going to try to get the meteor into the old frost patch right now, and it's going to happen because someone is doing it correct. Yep, and now they're gonna burn it.
Yep, still 5 people down now.
There's Dread Flame spawning right below the group. Was swept down quite fast. That meteor died. Now it's just fight without meteors.
Without meteors.
Yes. Now
so it's still doable. There is no enrage here, is it?
There is. It's the Berserk is 5 minutes 25, and the boss is currently on 33%. So now it's just a soft enrage, whether there's going to be too much Dread Flame or not. With 5 people dead, the boss is actually still doable. None of them is a healer. That's all their tank. It's going to be empowered sulphurous now. People are moving into a second frost patch to sort of be in a good position. Boss is being taken into the roots. I think roots have applied now.
That's a fairly ridiculous amount of fire going on right there. I mean, it's very hard to see.
Look at on the right side. The whole right side of the room is full on Dreadflame. People are trying to sweep it off, but one of our sweepers is dead, so it's really, really difficult. Now they're just clearing the area next to the frost breath, so that we would be able to
make use of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now there's this thing. Frost breath can spawn right in the middle of the Dreadflame on the other side. If that happens, that is so-called bad RNG.
Yeah.
It can spawn right next to it, as we have seen as well, but. Yeah, it did spawn quite close, so it's actually a fairly good chance that this is going to happen.
Yep. I mean, after the meteors are down, this is a calmer section, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and also, well, with the one Deluge person being down, I mean, look at how much Dreadflame there is.
That is...
Never mind, empowered sulphurous in the face, and that's done.
Entire raid annihilated immediately after that. It was good. It was going pretty well, but that meteor transition is an absolute nightmare in Phase 4.
Yeah. That was quite close. That was quite. People were already getting excited. I could totally see it.
Well, we'll see if they manage to pull it off next time. They're still getting at it.
Yeah.
Meantime, of course, we've probably got about at least 10 minutes to talk about some new topics. Has anyone in Paragon got the legendary staff yet?
No, I don't think anyone in the world has.
How long does that usually take? I guess.
I'm not so sure. I think it's about 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, so like 9 weeks-ish. It's approximately the same as it took to get Shadow Mon.
How does Paragon make their gold?
We sell BOE epics that drop in raids, which no one uses in the auction house. That's it. That's the only way we make gold.
So you don't sell runs, you don't sell achievements or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, WoW Gold is so easy to obtain, and most of the players have some on their own as well. So we, as a guild, don't really do WoW Gold stuff because, well, it's not exactly does not give us so much.
No, it doesn't help you aside from having enough to make sure you get your repairs and your flasks. For the time being, anyway.
Yeah.
So having a quick look around here, see if there's any other good questions. A lot of them not so great, unfortunately. Would you prefer shorter but more gimmicky fights to rather a long patience fights?
I would say, well, I don't know. It so much depends on the fight. But if I would have to answer straight to that, shorter and the gimmicky ones, cause just the practice is so stupid on these 20-minute bosses. When you wipe right in the end, it just takes so much time. It's not so enjoyable. To do you sort of get the first phase under control, then you've done it 400 times. Then someone makes a mistake there, you really want to start like face palming at that point.
Yeah, you can hardly blame. This is interesting. When you make a kill video and you show the different points of view of people, do you make it so that you avoid showing some of the tactics? Do you ever hide some of your tactics from people?
Well, if there would be something to hide, we probably would, but these bosses here, there's not been much, you know, to hide. So I think that, I don't know, I don't think we have done any real hiding. I mean, I'm even explaining our tactics here at the same time.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're being extremely detailed. I think that anyone that watches this video from start to finish is going to pretty much know how to do this stuff. They've just got to actually do it, which is the difficult bit. It's weird to see that we've changed now. When we were raiding back in vanilla, I remember Inner Sanctum got in a lot of trouble with other members of the raiding community for telling people how to do parts of Molten Core. And people absolutely hated the fact that they did that. And then, of course, kill videos were often very, very rare.
Well, this is the thing, we don't exactly release kill videos before other guilds have already killed the boss. And it's, you know, it's respectable towards the other top-end guilds to do the same. I don't think Method would have released a movie of Ragnaros if they would have gone the world first, and we would have still not killed the boss just to get some extra fame, because it's just not how it works.
That's just not how raiding guilds.
There are some a bit lesser guilds who sometimes get lucky, and then they're like, oh, let's release video instantly.
Particularly on these non-linear instances where you don't necessarily kill the same boss, I assume.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That, like, last content, it was like that. We chose sort of different bosses, and, you know, we didn't get all the world first. Some other guilds got them as well.
Yeah, that's simply because they could try a different boss. Yeah.
Same in this content. We went for 4 times Paragon Hall so we could get some gear from there.
Yeah.
The first thing on the heroic weekend, or the heroic week, and Method went straight for the Firelands. They killed the couple of first bosses before us, but then, you know, the boss is gone mad.
Yeah.
So,
it's fair enough.
well, we already caught them up at Major Domo, so.
Yeah, and then of course took the world first, so it's all good anyway. That's an interesting one. Apparently there's a couple of people that actually want to know this, and I assume they have to play on the Oceanic servers and things like that. How confident would you be moving that fast from the flames with 200 to 400 milliseconds of lag?
I wouldn't be. And I'm totally honest, if you have this kind of issue, I suggest that you do something about it. Move to Sweden, move to Finland, very good connection here. You know, I don't blame you for not having 50 ms, but I would say that if I would have to play with 400, I would just rather not play.
That's a fair point.
I mean, taking nearly a half a second to something that you have pressed is not exactly what I call fun.
Well, no, we didn't even have those pings back in the 56k days when we were gaming.
Yeah.
A ping of about 180 was, for say playing with people in the same country on 56k. That was perfectly doable.
When we're doing PTR, I'm having close to 500 ms, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
I feel like I just don't want to even play. I hate PTR because of that.
Yeah, I can't really blame you for that one. Competition between high-end guilds always friendly, or are there repeated attempts to discredit one another?
Depends. We are in good terms with some of the top-end guilds, not with everyone. Some of the top-end guilds do blame us just for doing something just because they're jealous, and some just, you know, come and shake hands. Well, obviously those who come and shake hands, we're good friends with them. We are never really being the bad guys. We don't really comment on other people's, you know, stuff. It's not really our business, and
yeah, I mean, you tend to just do write-ups on your site about the actual content itself. You don't really fixate on anyone's actions. And I don't know, but did you guys even say anything before today about the stars thing? I don't think you did you?
Nah, I mean, this kind of stuff is, the community is already handling it. We don't need to be the justice bringers coming in. I mean, even though we are the best guild in the world, and people would probably listen to us a bit, but it's just not really our duty to do.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Does everyone in the guild actually have a raid geared alt? Is that a requirement or something you guys just choose to do?
Well, I don't know what is raid geared, but at this point, not everyone has, but everyone has an alt, and it's going to be raid geared soon.
Right.
So you need to have 2 characters, so that, let's say, for example, when there was normal mode content, which was fairly easy to do with either alts or mains, we split the mains into 2, and we put like half of the mains to the other raid and half to the other one, so we could get more loot before the heroic modes.
Right, yeah.
Now this is the fair play way to do it, without transferring servers or something. Because obviously there's like 5 mages, all want the same loot. well, split them to half, and you already have twice better chance of getting an item.
Yeah, very true.
And like, we put both plate tanks into different raids. Both tanks getting basically, you know, whatever you can from that stuff.
I'm not asking that. So, well, you can ask me if you like, but oh god. I should answer it anyway. I should ask it now.
Go for it.
Are there any particular raid refreshments or other tricks that Paragon used to maximize raid time? E.g., use the bottle.
Well, I would say that everyone has their own tricks. I don't know if people are willing to share them.
Probably not.
In the public.
I think not.
But
somehow I don't think that's all that common, honestly.
no, I mean, come on. Bottles, well, maybe.
I don't want to go any further than that. It's not happening. Oh my. That's interesting. That's a specific hunter question. Paragon would be all about min-maxing, so how come the hunter spends the majority of the time in aspect of the fox, losing a fair amount of DPS?
I'm not exactly the hunter specialist, so maybe we should ask Kruf this question.
Yeah,
after a wipe.
Yep. Assuming there is a wipe, or after that.
Kill.
Yep. Okay, we'll ask him why, because no doubt he has a reason for it.
But I would say that it is because there is a lot of movement, including in this fight. And if you need to stop casting a steady shot just because you need to move at a certain time, I would say I think this is a DPS loss, and thus he's rather spending some of his time in Fox rather than doing this.
Yeah, we shall confirm that with him afterwards. He's sitting on around 39%.
Yeah, it's gonna be the burn phase again with some of the meteors.
So a question that a lot of people keep asking, which I suppose is interesting and might be different depending on who you're talking about within the guild, is that how many of you actually do work full-time and have to take time off in order to do this progress stuff, or how many of you do this professionally or somebody support it via doing other things? How is the situation in that regard?
We have quite a few students still who are studying in uni or something, and obviously you're going to have some spare time.
And flexibility, yeah.
Then we do have a lot of people who are working as well, full-time. Also, we have a lot of people who have like flexible work time, doing coding, computer stuff like that. They can work from home. Then we do have just the regular people as well who just go normally to work hours a day, and those people are not always on the first kills. Those people, you know, we do work outside of WoW as well.
Yeah.
Even though we do get something a little bit out of it.
Yeah. I don't think the idea of 25 fully paid up raiders is realistic at this point.
No.
And I don't think that actually happens at all. If I recall correctly, when I asked Insidia the same question, I believe they have a few raiders that actually are professional and fully paid, but those guys also do other things, like they're big management, they're involved in the development of the website, promotional and marketing.
Yeah, it's sort of the same for us.
Yeah.
But it's not really like that for the whole guild.
Yeah, it's understandable. It seems ridiculous to even have the idea. Unfortunately, it's just the money isn't there. It's raiding is not treated as an e-sport in a commercial sense.
Yeah, is a good question.
That is a good question. Is it that one or that one?
No, that one.
Is it a 50 DKP minus if you pop Time Warp or Bloodlust prematurely?
I don't know. I don't think it's a minus 50 DKP, but next time you just might not be on the first kill. It's I mean, if you just randomly pop it and we wipe because of that, I think that's just wiping the raid. So
pretty much, yeah. So do be careful on the button bindings of your Time Warp or Bloodlust, folks.
Actually, last phase now again. Getting there this time.
Oh yeah, they're consistently getting there.
Everyone alive, yes. That's what the gear does. It's consistent getting to the last phase.
Yeah.
Now we just need to wait for the for the good bit.
I do love the corpse mechanic in this game. Absolutely littered in corpses. Lots of them in the lava pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the coolest things that we noticed in the beta when they did some crazy beta events and everyone would die and the entire town would be covered in corpses and skeletons. It was always great fun. Now the question is, can they take it this one? Is there anything that you would have, I mean, in the last few wipes, for instance, is there something that you could point out that needed to be changed? Looks like they've already lost one player already, so... Is it just the extreme difficulty of this?
Well, it's just a lot of stuff is happening at the same time when you need to be careful with how much damage you take. You need to remember we only have 3 healers on a 25-man heroic end boss encounter. That is absolutely just... that is huge. I mean, there are people who are going 10-man heroic Ragnarok with 3 healers without even thinking of dropping 1 or 2. Yeah. We're doing 25-man with 3. I mean, that basically shows it.
It's
but like you can see now,
strain.
there's meteors to handle. There's this dread flame right next to the camp. Then there's a lot of dread flame in between the new camp, so they need to sweep it off the way now. And then at the same time you take damage from superheated. So there's actually a lot of stuff happening in here. We also have assigned people for the meteors. Now this is really bad. Meteor straight into the... it was actually the old one, so it was good. Now Meteor is going to die. We have 1 Meteor less. Cruf's HP is not looking so healthy. And now we need to get into a new Frost patch. One of our healers died. That's Angel right there, that's wipe.
Bam. Yep.
That's just simply a wipe.
Not easy. Not at all. That's kind of cool. Rank the 5 all-time most fun bosses you and Paragon have killed and explain to us why. And you can think about that while we ask the hunter about Aspect of the Fox, I think.
Do that.
Yep.
I'll think about it.
So a question came in via Twitter. They want to know why you're using Aspect of the Fox so much, and some of them seem to be of the opinion that that would actually hurt your DPS, so why don't you explain that to them?
Well, with this setup we are running, the DPS shouldn't be so much of a problem, and also I'm not exactly playing at home, so I'm not taking any risks today. Yes, you can swap, but sometimes when you know there is not going to be any movement, but you don't always know there is only a period of something like, as far as I remember, it's like 10 to 15 seconds in phase 3, which is the only phase that really matters, where you can know that you don't need to move. So I'll switch maybe sometimes, but it depends on how much attention I need to pay to the rest of the game at the moment.
There you go, good solid answer. In the meantime, Vernish, have you managed to come up with a list?
No.
Well, we'll come back to that question later when you have them.
5 bosses is just quite many to think of.
It is quite a lot, isn't it, actually?
Yeah. Fun bosses. Fun, really fun.
TeamSpeak or Ventrilo?
TeamSpeak.
There you go. So no Mumble then?
Not at this point, at least.
No. So what else we got right here? What is Paragon's general opinion on the difficulty of recent raids?
I would say that we think that it was alright, seeing as it was not too hard, but also I don't know, Ragnar's wasn't too easy either, so the rest of the content was pretty easy, but you know, I would say it was alright. It was alright, really. It's like some of the easier bosses and normals are good for the casuals, and then all of the top end guilds have at least gone up to Rag, and now that's where the real thing is counted, and as you said earlier, only 12 guilds have killed it, so
yep.
It's obviously bringing enjoyment for the very best.
That's a fair point. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen Is Paragon going to use more healers at late time? I think they probably use less. Well, looks like
Well, I would say that we're probably gonna bring in fourth whenever it's not risky anymore. Because at the moment, when one healer dies, it's pretty much a wipe.
Oh yeah, so
And if we
actually
have
you save
four-
time in the long run.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So you can
I mean,
compensate for
we are
lack
still,
of DPS and gear.
Yeah, we are still human and mistakes do happen. So it's safer to go with 4 at the point when you actually can do it.
Certainly makes sense. Since we've started again, needless to say. So we're probably waiting a good 10 minutes before we actually get back to that phase where things really matter. And this is the kind of time that actually a lot of guilds get into a situation where they are making more mistakes simply because they're tired of it.
I would say so as well. Actually, like your your focus, how you're focusing onto the game and stuff, and your whole, how to say, how you think of it, it all changes. Also, after like stuff is on farm, some people start caring less, and this also leads into more mistakes. And
of course, it's thankful, I suppose, that that can be compensated with to some degree via gear. But
yeah,
I think everyone has seen that happen where they've wiped on supposed farm content because people actually weren't paying attention. And that's what happens when your game, I suppose, is based entirely around repetition of the same content.
Yeah,
people just cease to care.
I mean, that's what it totally is, though.
Yep. Let's see if there's anything else there. There was that follow-up, actually. Someone was once again questioning the fact that you hold back the kill videos. It's just, you were saying it was just a matter of respect between top-end raiding guilds, wasn't it? That
well, also the fact that we don't really want to leak our tactics before some of the guilds have already done the kill. I mean, we don't want to give method straight tactic, you know, to go for the kill, you know, because it still does matter whether we kill it week before them or 2 days before them.
all right. Okay.
So that's why we try to hold back as long as possible until at least the second guild has done it.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you know, we want to see what's the difference between us and the second best without us actually helping them.
Right.
If we would release the movie, they would have probably copied our tactic,
Well,
because
of course they
obviously
would
it
have,
worked, and then, you know, they could have gotten the kill in a couple of days.
Yeah, so it's more kind of personal curiosity thing and distinguishing yourself from the rest of the guilds.
Well, yeah, of course. And also, just... we also want to see if the guilds have managed to, you know, bring up some own stuff.
Yeah. Does Paragon have a single raid leader that develops boss tactics, or is it a community effort for every boss?
I would say it's community efforts, like, on the long run. I mean, we do have the officers, guild master, and this kind of stuff, but they don't maybe address as much as, you know, people doing lesser guilds. Most of the people in the guild are good enough that they understand the mechanics of most classes, they understand the mechanics of the boss encounter, they understand what could be the best use at this point. It's all what we actually decide in the end to do.
Yeah.
So then what we decide will be done. And also, we have quite a lot of stuff going on like TeamSpeak, like all the time people are talking about the encounter. We have a very good like team effort in there, I would say. Sometimes even maybe a bit too much of talk, but well, I think it's quite healthy, because otherwise I would have